thin line. I wish I didn't need you now. I wish you didn't need me. I wish I didn't need you now.
Hello and welcome back to Zero Cool Gaming, and today we're going to be doing a review of the game called Doom 3.
Originally focused on weapon and defense contracts, new ventures have expanded into biological research, space exploration, and other scientific endeavors. With unlimited funds and the ability to engage in research outside of moral and legal obligations, the UAC controls the most advanced technology ever conceived.
Incoming transport detected.
Mars approach, Dark Star with you, 07063, passing through 38,000.
Roger, Dark Star. Descend to 2000, set speed, contact ground on 26972.
Roger that, tower.
We have them on radar, sir. They'll be landing in a few moments.
Excellent. See that Counselor Swan is sent directly to me.
Yes, sir.
Now, I own two versions of this game. I own the original and one of the DLC, as well as Doom 3, the BFG edition. So, it's a game that, while though I enjoyed playing it and I liked the game itself, I enjoyed the storyline, but at the same point, this game was too terrifying for me to actually play. It would give me nightmares. So it took me like 4 years to get through this game the first time I played it. And it had nothing to do with not enjoying Doom, because I love Doom games. I love the 2016 and the original Doom, Doom 2, and there's another one that I played too, Final Doom. I own all of these games. So as far as the Doom franchise in general, it's something that it's a universe that I enjoy and always have. But this particular game was designed to be, terrifying and to scare you, and it does. There's a lot of times where you're fighting off, whatever's coming at you in front of you, and as you back up to prevent them from attacking you, a wall opens up behind you and another one will attack you from behind. It's a common thing that this game loves to do all the time. Or you'll go into an area to pick up, some armor or ammo, and as you go toward the armor or ammo, the wall behind you will open up and there'll be, a demon in the wall that jumps out at you. And it does this a lot. I mean, it is a common thing that this game does to try to scare you and throw you off. Wow, that is really loud. Okay, so what is the story about? Well, the story is about, it starts out with you being on a ship, and you're on a ship headed to Mars, and there are two other people on board that ship with you, a man named Swan and another one named Campbell. Swan is a USC board member, and Campbell is his bodyguard. When you arrive at the Mars base and you enter the UAC facility, one of the first things that you're asked to do by Sergeant Kelly is to go investigate what happened to a scientist and you know, basically bring him back. While Swan and Campbell are sent there to investigate Dr. Truger and the multiple accidents that have been happening in and around the Delta Complex. So you get your orders from Sergeant Kelly, and he tells you that the scientist is from the Delta Labs, and you know, he's gone missing. And as you travel through the UAC facility and listen to the different conversations that are happening, you learn that there's been some pretty odd incidents of people going insane and killing their co-workers, and other people informing you that some people are starting to lose their minds and they're losing their grip on reality. And eventually a guy tells you that he might be out at the old communications tower because they saw him headed in that direction. So you head off that way to see if he's actually there. When you get there, the scientist tries to explain to you the situation and some of the things that he's seen, and you can tell that he's really terrified about some of the experiments that he's been involved in. But before he can really get to the point, a shockwave occurs that shakes the entire base, and demonic enemies start to pour out of the teleporter. It's kind of like a wormhole that connects two teleporters to each other. But the area of space that you travel through between porters is actually hell itself. And the forces of hell invade the entire complex. Kills a lot of people, but it turns most of them into zombies. And then you're forced to fend off the attacks from different, you know, zombified base personnel and demons from hell. You return to the Mars City, and Kelly gives you some new orders to link up with another squad of Marines so that you can retrieve a transmission card containing a distress call that he wants to send out to Earth in order to call for reinforcements to help contain the situation. As you progress through the base, you learn that Swan and Campbell have survived the initial shockwave and are en route to the communications facility as well, but their objective is to prevent any messages from being sent out so that they can better ascertain exactly what's happened to the base and contain the situation on Mars and hopefully not infect Earth with whatever is going on. As you get close to the squad that you're supposed to rendezvous with, they get ambushed by a group of demons and slaughtered. And although you do recover the transmission card, it's too late to prevent the equipment that was in the communications facility from being destroyed. Campbell got there before you and just tore the place up. So Sergeant Kelly directs you to a backup system, another communication system. And when you arrive at that new communication system, you're given the choice to either do as your sergeants told you, or not to send the transmission, and basically agree with Swan's argument to keep the Mars base isolated until the situation can be contained and the true nature of this invasion fully understood. Excuse me. So I decided not to send the transmission, and Swan tells me to go to the Delta Labs and you know, investigate what's happening over there and find out, you know, if there's any way to basically shut down the teleporter and prevent any further invasion from Hell. If you do as I did, eventually Betruger ends up going to the backup facility himself and sends the transmission anyway. So it's not really a choice, and regardless of what you choose, the transmission gets sent regardless. And then Betruger tries to kill you with toxic gases that he released into the base's recycling facilities, which is where you're currently at, just before you get to the Delta Labs. Once you learn the details behind the teleportation experiments and the expeditions into Hell itself to retrieve specimens, in other words demons, and Betruger's increasing obsession with these tests and turning people into zombies and possessed humans, you also learn that there's an archaeological dig going on underneath the surface of Mars. The dig is called an excavation site, and they're excavating the ruins of an ancient civilization that once lived on Mars. And this civilization produced a weapon or a relic that helped them to defend against the forces of Hell that a long time ago had invaded Mars, as their society was also experimenting with teleportation equipment or teleportation technologies. Eventually you'll run into a scientist that reveals that the invasion began because Betruger took this ancient relic known as the Soul Cube into the portal that he created, went into Hell, and left it there. So you go after Betruger through the labs, but eventually you're pulled into the teleportation portal yourself because of a trap that Betruger had set up for you. So once in Hell, of course you fight your way through all the demons that are there, and eventually you find the demonic guardian that Betruger gave the Soul Cube to, and you have to of course defeat it. There's a trick to it, but that's not really part of the story. And then you're able to reinitialize the teleportation equipment that's in Hell to return to the research facility. Once you're back into the Delta Labs, Betruger tells you that the main UAC teleporter has been destroyed, and that it doesn't really matter because he's opened a portal to Hell with the power of Hell, and it's located in the dig site here on Mars. So you realize that this is capable of bringing millions of demons onto the surface of Mars, and you decide that maybe it'd be a good idea to start making your way toward the dig site to see if there's something you can do to put an end to that. On your way there, you run into an injured Swan who informs you that Kelly has been working with Hell and may have been working with them the whole time. And he's been transformed by the demons into a demonic amalgamation himself. And he tells you that Campbell has gone off after Sergeant Kelly, and Swan gives you his PDA so that you can gain access to more areas. And he tells you, where the location of the Hellmouth exactly is, and it's deep under the surface of Mars. He tells you that he's going to try to make his way out of the base alone, and that you should go on and try to meet up with Campbell. Once you catch up with Campbell in central computer processing, you find that he's been mortally wounded as well. And before he dies, he tells you that Kelly has taken his BFG 9000. Kelly then begins to taunt you in his demonic voice. The Marine eventually, or you eventually, face off with Kelly in the central computer core, and you see that, yeah, he's become a cybernetic human grafted on top of a tank-like base. Eventually you do kill Sergeant Kelly, and you take the BFG off of his dead body. And then you begin to explore deeper into the facility and further underneath the Martian surface until you reach Site 3, the archaeological dig site. And this is also where the Soul Cube was initially unearthed. Once you make your way to the primary evacuation site, you find out that the Hellmouth is defended by the Cyber Demon. And the only way to defeat it is to use the Hell Cube on the Cyber Demon itself. It's the only way you can actually even injure it. And then after you kill the Cyber Demon, the Soul Cube seals up the Hellmouth by flying into it and sealing itself as well in Hell. The ending cutscene shows that reinforcements from Earth eventually arrive at the Mars base. And of course, you know, they see the carnage everywhere. They find you still alive. They tell you that Swan has been killed from or died from his injuries, and they're unable to locate Betruger. And in the final scene, you see that Betruger is in Hell, being reincarnated, I guess, as a dragon-like demon. And you gotta love the chainsaws, man. There's even chainsaws in this game. But anyway, so basically the gameplay to Doom 3 is it's a first-person shooter. You're given several different types of weapons. You know, you got a handgun, a machine gun, a chain gun, a plasma rifle, a BFG 9000, the Soul Cube, grenades. There's probably something that I'm missing, I'm sure. Yeah, the chainsaw, which is a staple of the Doom franchise. And all these different weapons allow you to defeat the enemies that are thrown at you in this game. One of the things that I liked about this game is that as you meet a new type of demon, there's a cutscene for their introduction. Even when you first meet the imps, there's a cutscene that introduces them. Same thing with like the Pinky, the Spider Demon, the Mancubus, the Hell Knights, pretty much all of them except for the zombies. Well, I guess even the zombies at the very beginning of the game, because the scientist that you go after ends up turning into a zombie and you have to kill him. So there's a cutscene even introducing them. So yeah, all the different enemies that you end up running into this game have their own cutscene that introduces them to you. And I like that about this game. I thought that was a pretty cool way of introducing the different demon types. The gameplay itself is pretty linear. It's not like there's a lot of different places you can go. There are some secrets that you can find. As you go through the game, you collect PDAs off of different people that have, you know, been killed or you killed. And those PDAs allow you to gain access to areas that were locked off to you before, or areas that you're getting ready to go to. So it's kind of like the key system that was in previous games, but it's all on the PDA now. It also allows you to access any like video and audio files that they put on their own PDAs, which add to the lore of the game. You also find video discs that explain how certain weapons work and give you an idea of the different types of experiments that have been going on here at this facility. So there's a lot of lore in this game if you want to interact with it, and it's written pretty well, so I enjoyed doing that. I also like listening to the audio files of people talking to each other and explaining the different encounters that they've had on or while they've been working on the base, and what's happened to different people, and what scares them, what doesn't, how they feel about the oddities that have been going on since they got there, that sort of stuff. All the different people that have put in for transfers and end up being refused or not allowed to leave, and then forcefully given assignments within Delta Labs and nobody sees them again, that sort of thing. It's pretty cool. I got a kick out of it. I thought that it was, like I said, well done, well written. They really went out of their way to create a game unlike their previous games. A game that's more about the story and the interactions between the people than it is about, just going out and killing demons and stopping the end of humanity as a result. So, if this sounds like something that you might enjoy, I absolutely recommend this game. It's a lot of fun. Like I said, it's a little too terrifying for me. It scared me on numerous occasions. Took me years to complete it. But regardless, I still enjoyed the game. I enjoyed the lore within it. I liked how they put it all together to create this unique experience.
Recon Zulu, this is Echo 1. Give me a visual status.
Echo 1, this is Recon Zulu. We've got massive damage all over the base. This place looks like hell. I've got life signs on the bioscanner. Eyes sharp. Echo 1, we've got a survivor, a Marine. Corporal, you hear me? You alright? Can you hear me? Echo 1, this is Recon Zulu. Prepare for medevac.
Copy that. Have you located Counselor Swan?
Yes, sir. He's dead.
Roger, Recon 1. What about Dr. Betruger?
He's nowhere to be found, sir.
And it is a little bit different than a lot of your first-person shooters that are out there. And it was a lot better done. I mean, they definitely dumped a lot of money into the production of this game. Especially when you consider that it, how long ago it was made, and it still holds up today as a pretty decent game. Even with the older graphics that they were using. So, kudos to all of that, truly. I thought it was well done. And, to give some background, this is something that the developers truly wanted to do with their earlier creations of Doom, but were limited by the technology available, so they couldn't really create something like this. And then as soon as the technology became available, so this is more like a pet project than anything else for the developers, to see if they could create the vision that they had when they first envisioned the Doom game, way back in, 1994? it took them several years before they were able to create what they intended to, back when they were originally doing the ideas for this game itself. And this game was released in 2004, so it only took a decade, 10 years, for them to really get it to the point that they could make what they wanted. It just shows you how fast technology was advancing at that time. I mean, to today, technology doesn't advance that quickly, but I definitely remember, these years, that decade in particular, and how quickly things did advance. It was like every 2 years they were releasing a newer, faster, better computer. And yeah, that continued for almost 2 decades before that started to slow down. It was like 2012 when it started to slow down, maybe 2011. So yeah, almost 2 decades of just constant advancement. Almost impossible to keep up with, to be honest with you. So I'm going to call that here and say that's my rant for the day. If you could hit the like, subscribe, rumble, follow buttons, all that does help. And I'll talk to you later.